Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for joining the webinar today, brought to you by the Contact Group. My name is John Clarke, and my colleague alongside me is Gemma Murphy. Today we are going to focus on attendance, specifically what the Contact Group can offer the education sector in this area. The two products that we will be focusing on today are Truancy Call and Reggie. If you have any questions, please ask them in the chat box on your right-hand side, and we will answer them at the end of the product demonstration. Okay, so let's get going. The first product that we're going to demonstrate today is Truancy Call. Truancy Call is an attendance management software and a first day response system for contacting parents when their children are absent from school. Truancy Call links into two major MIS systems, and the first one of that is SIMS, and the second one is Facility CMIS. The way Truancy Call works, it integrates into the attendance information within them MIS systems. So first of all, the key thing to remember is, with regards to Truancy Call, is when the school actually takes their registers. So in the morning, schools will take their registers around 9 o'clock, and data is normally within the MIS system for about 9:30. Traditionally, what schools do is they use a manual process, and when a child is absent and the school doesn't have a reason, they basically pick up the phone and contact the school on their own, contact the parent on their own, sorry. What we do with that process is we streamline that by using a piece of software, and this is Truancy Call. So what the attendance officer will do, or the person who deals with attendance within the school, will log in. They will have their own ID and password box. So first of all, what you're presented with is the text messaging option. Now, the text messaging is an add-on to Truancy Call, and this basically gives the school an 11-digit mobile number, and what this is basically another avenue for your parents to report a child being absent. The great thing about the system is, if you've messaged the parent before, it cross-references the number that you've got in the system and puts the parent's name next to it. The biggest benefit of this is freeing up the phone lines, and again, with parents commuting, it can be quite difficult to phone the school, and basically it's a lot easier to just send a quick text. So what I'm going to do now is close this down. So as I said earlier, Truancy Call mainly depends on the attendance data within CMIS or SIMS. Okay. Now, what you would do when the registers are completed, you will press a button at the top left-hand side there called Get Absent Students. Okay. When you click Get Absent Students, it basically retrieves a list of people with an N code. So people basically that you've not got a reason for their absence. The list will look very much like this. Now, there are two ways of contacting your parents via Truancy Call. One of them is a standard SMS, and the other is via a voice phone call. The difference between the two, the text gets sent out as soon as you message out to your parents for absences, and the parent can reply at any given time, okay, throughout that day. The other option is a phone call option. What that does, it can call the mobile phone or a landline, and it will basically ring them on the hour, every hour, asking them why their child is absent. They can leave a message after the tone, and the message would play back through to you on the speakers. Now, at the moment, what we're going to use a standard SMS to show you this. on the screen. It's a lot easier to show you the text side of things. Now, when you've pulled through anybody with an encode, there are certain things that you might need to take into consideration. One of them is you might have a manual late book to the left of you if you're an attendance officer, and on the right hand side you might have bits of paper where parents have rang in and said basically, my child's not in today, he's not well. Okay. Now the great thing about this, with it integrating directly into the MIS system, say on the left hand side I'm going through the late book and Hong is actually late from school today. You double click on Hong's name, you can amend report, and you click late there at the top. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the option available, but if you can imagine, underneath further information, there is actually a minutes late button. Now, you can actually type in the minutes that the child was late and the reason for late. So, say for example, bus was not on time, and all you would do then, you would click apply, and then that would write the mark back into SIMS or CMIS. With that going instantly into CMIS and SIMS, when the teacher logs in later on in the day, they can look at the previous lessons and to see that that child was actually late or in fact absent. What we're going to do, we're going to click OK now. Say for example, Greg's mum has actually rang in today and said, basically, Greg's not in today, he's not well. You can click on Greg's name, double click, amend report, and exactly the same scenario. So we can go illness, we can pop in the reason why here, so stomach bug. You click apply, write the mark back, and that's rolled back instantly into the management system as well. Now, yourselves, if you ever deal with attendance, you will know certain individuals like the back of your hand. So we know that Nicholas is a poor attender, and we actually need to send him a letter. Now, what you can do from Truancy Call, you can actually create a mail merge letter, and that works alongside the management information system as well. So if we right-click on Nicholas, we can send letter, and this brings up basically the letter function. Within here, you are able to select the letter that you want to send. So we've got poor attendance request contact, persistent late, get absent reason with address. So what we're going to pick get absent reason with address. You click create, and what that will do, it will bring up Word, and it will basically mail merge all the information in there for you. Now what you can do there is you can file print that off and save it actually to the SIMS folder within your local drive. Okay. The great thing about Truancy Call, it also keeps an audit trail of letters that you've been sent. I'm going to go through this later on in the demonstration, but the key thing about Truancy Call is you can actually, at the touch of a button, pull through all the data needed for an individual student. So I'm going to keep the record of that letter that we've sent, and I'm going to close this information now. Now, it still asks you, do you still want to send a call out to this individual? We're going to click yes, because we want basically, we need a reason for that person. What you can also do, say for example, Michael, his attendance again is poor, and you need to do a site visit, and there's not really a point in sending a call out. You can obviously do this if you just want proof to send that you've sent calls out yourself. But what we're going to do, we're going to click delete on the keyboard so that we cancel by user. So when you press delete, it stops the call going out. Okay. Now we don't have a reason for the reason why Neville is absent. He's not in the late book. He's not. His mum's not rang in. So we need to get the reason why Neville is late. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the number in there so that the number's fine. What you can do, you can basically have a look at the information that you've got for that individual. So we've got the name that we're going to send it to is Neville, and we've got the mobile number there that we're going to send to. I'm going to click OK. All you would have to do is press send and receive in the top left-hand corner. I understand that having one absence without a reason is very unrealistic, but all you would do now is we click send. and then all them messages will go out instantly. If you have 10, 15, 20 absences with no reasons, they will all get sent automatically. Okay. Now, I've got the message through on my phone, and I'm just going to show you now. So the message we've got there: Neville is absent from the contact group. It puts the date in there, the AM session. Please reply to a reason why and a date of return or call. Now the call will be the school's number itself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to text back and go Neville. And we click send. That message is sent through now. The great thing about Truancy Call is, compared to manual calling, is when you send and receive them messages, they all get sent out to all the parents, and you can carry on with your day-to-day business with regards to some office work there or any important tasks that you need to do. Now, what you would do, you would come back and say half an hour, quarter of an hour's time, say 10 AM, half 10, press send and receive again, and you will start seeing the replies come back into the system. Now, where it says status and it says aware, that obviously means that they've replied back to the message. Now, you can click anywhere on this line, you can amend report, and then it says Neville is ill, he will return tomorrow. If it was longer than a specific date, so if it was tonsillitis and he's off for a number of days, you can actually click on there, the date that you wish them to return, so it's going to be a week. You would click apply, and it would write that into the management information system for that period of time. No code, illness, apply. Do you want to write them out like yes? And that would instantly go into the management information system. Now, that is how day-to-day dealing with attendance would actually go ahead. So you would press get absent students, you will go through the list, you press send and receive, they'd all get a text, they can reply back when they want, and basically you can look at the replies you've got there and write the information back into Sims. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to go through the report wizard side of Truancy Call. Now this is very valuable with regards to, say for example, you've got meetings there with parents where you've got to prove that you've contacted parents and you've basically gone through the letter side of things, and this is very valuable in them meetings. So if we go to report wizard, we've got absence report, you click next. Within here you can pinpoint, you can use all pupils, you can actually select a year group, so you can look at the attendance for a year group, class group, you can look at different houses. We've got individual student and surname. Okay. Now, I'm going to basically look at an individual. We're going to look at Billy, which is Mr. Tester, because I know we've got a lot of data on him here. We double click. Okay. Now I want to show you how quick the system can be. So I'm going to go back to 2012 because I understand that attendance can be over a long period of time that you need to evaluate. We're going to click finish, and as you can see, it will show you a list of when you've tried to contact that individual. Now, on here we've got the status, so it says call stopped. That means it's been stopped by the school. Aware, left message. That means that a message has been left on the answer phone for the parent to ring the school back. And where we've got the fact that it says text delivered, but it says response and there's none, that means basically you've sent the text out, but they've not responded back to the text message. Now delivered means it's 100% on that person's phone, which is great for you because you've got proof that you've sent that message, it's gone to that person's phone, but they've just chose not to reply. Now, another status option, which is text sent. Text sent means it's been sent to the person's phone. They've either not got signal or their phone switched off. As soon as they switch the phone on, as soon as they get signal, it changes to text delivered. Now again, it basically lets you know where the message is at all times. Okay. We're going to go back into Report Wizard, and we're going to have a quick, brief explanation of the other reports within here. Persistent truants will show you the amount of days absent individuals can be over a certain period of time. So within the school there, you might have trigger their absences. So if they're absent 3 or more times over a certain period, it will produce that report for you instantly. Check telephone numbers is when you use the calling option, where you've sent them a call and the amount of times they've not answered the phone. So you can look at instances where they've not answered 5 or more times. We're going to launch other reports. Usage report, exactly what it says. For the finance team there, it can show you how many messages you're sending. You can use that for the costing side of things. Parent responses report is basically a list of the recordings that they've sent back in. Number trace, one of the things that schools do is that they can send messages out and the parent might not actually have, the person you sent the message to might not actually have anything to do with the school. Now you can trace that number and identify what parent it's underneath and block that number or delete it from SIMS, okay? Letters sent report, we touched on earlier, the letters that you send out via the system, you can basically produce a report of the letters you've sent to certain individuals or a year group, class group, things like that. SMS replies report, exactly what it says, the text replies that you've had back from individuals. SMS unallocated is where you've sent them a text and they've not replied. And time sent report, again, the time the messages was sent. Now, we're going to go into the boring side of things with regards to the settings, okay? Within the settings, you can configure the system to do whatever you need to do, okay? So with regards to the connection, so it's connecting either to Facility Seamless or SIMS. It runs live with your attendance data, so we read and write back. Now, one thing that can be quite important for individual schools is to look at lesson by lesson. So it can be set up to look at AM and PM registers only, or it can be done lesson by lesson. Now, some schools like to do lesson by lesson because they like to have the encode in the registration session in the AM, and they also like it in period 1 as well, to pull them marks through, because some students miss registration but go to period 1, and it saves a lot of legwork there for the attendance officers. Next thing we've got is the calling. So you can actually pinpoint who you're sending the messages to and what sort of messages and calls you're sending out. So call mobile phones and landlines, that's the automated call I was describing earlier, where you can send them a call on the hour, every hour, and they would respond to that via a voicemail. Okay. Again, this is really good for persistent, well, basically parents that don't reply very often. It breeds a lot of behaviours. With them getting called on the hour, every hour, they tend to actually let you know if the child's going to be absent, because they don't want to be called every hour to see where their child is. You've got text, mobile phones and landlines. And that covers all areas. You've got people there who work from home. You've got, with the landlines, you've got mums who are at home. Text, mobile phones only, that can be for the commuters, and they can basically text back whenever they like. And in some areas in the office, people are not allowed to use their phones. It's a lot easier to send a quick text than it is to answer a phone call. Text, mobile phones only, exactly what it says. Texting, just text. Parent contacts, so this is who you want to contact within your database. So you've got parental responsibility or call priority 1 and 2. Now, one of the things is mum and dad might be split up, and there might be not be correspondence for the, say, dad, and he's not part of the scene anymore. He might get letters with parental responsibility, but contact priority 1 and 2. There's no point in ringing him if he lives somewhere, saying in Cardiff, and you're in Manchester. Okay. We also have different languages, and again, you can change the language scripts in there. But further information on that, you can ask questions. What's also nice is the filter aspect. Some schools are very big, especially high schools, and you have certain attendance officers that look after certain year groups. Now in here, you can pull through just certain classes and year groups that you want. Parent phone number blocks. You can, again, what I said earlier, where you trace numbers, you can block numbers in there. And we've got the templates as well. The templates in here, you've got things like the email template. Anytime we send a text or a call, we automatically send an email out if you have one in the database. SMS, that's the text that we send out. There's a generic one that we use. Most schools use this message, but again, you can customize that. And the letters, these are for the mail merge letters. Again, within here, you can import your own. So you will have your own letters that you use and you customize. But what you can do is, where you would type that letter out and put the parent's title and surname, you can actually use the mail merge function within Truancy Call. And one more, which is the mark write back. You can basically allow the mark to be wrote back straight away or prompt the user before use. But again, it's quite nice to see the fact that it says mark write back to the management information system. Now, as I say, that was just for absences. The settings are very similar. I wanted to split up slightly with regards to the get late students. So what you can also do, you can send late messages out. It works in exactly the same respect. You would say get late students. We will go to current day. You click get late students, and it will pull through anybody with an L code. Now, this is really good for parents who may leave before the child in the morning. So the children are not very in a rush to get to school. So what they can do there is you can send them a text, because the parent might not actually know that that child is late. But again, late messages work exactly the same as Truancy Call. But in a nutshell, that's Truancy Call. Again, if you have any questions, please ask them on the right-hand side in the text box, and Gemma and I will go through them at the end. Okay? Now, what we're going to go through now is the application called Reggie. Now, Reggie is a remote registration tool. Okay? It works on most major smartphone devices. Android, we're on the Android market, and we're on the Apple Store. Okay? The app itself sits on the phone. When the teacher logs into the system, they have their own name, password, and school ID number. When they log in, it will automatically download their registers for the day. Okay. Now we are Mrs. Abel, and we log in. So you have three options here. You've got take register, current timetable, current class. Okay. Now, if we look at current timetable, that's what we've got for the day. So we've got AM session, science, PM, biology. You can go into individual sections just by clicking on there. But what we're going to do now, we're going to go back, and we're going to go to take register. Now, what it will do automatically, it will go to the register that you're currently in. So we're at half 2, which is biology. And what's nice is it pulls through a picture of the child and their name, and all you do, very simple, you would just go through the list. So we've got present, we can have absent there, present. What's also nice, in the top right hand corner, we've got mark all. So you can mark them all as present, and then you just know, oh, actually I just know that Lydia was absent today, and actually Thomas was late. Now, with regards to late, we click on there, and you can add notes in the minutes that the child was late. Click on there, click on the time that they were late, 10 minutes. Thomas says it was the bus again. And all we do then is click done, and we just keep scrolling through. These are all present, we've marked all, but you know that Morgan's absent. And then at the bottom, which is quite nice, it's right at the bottom of the registration, we've got upload registration. Now, that instantly goes into the management information system. Now, Reggie itself at the moment only works with SIMS. So it's only a SIMS product with regards to reading and writing back registration marks. I'm going to click done here. Say, for example, we took the register, but actually one of the students has to go early because they're not well. You can go to current class, which we've just gone through, and we're going to go to Christopher Woodford at the bottom. I'm going to put notes in here to say Chris due to illness. Click done, go back again, back to the main menu, and click upload registration, and again that will write that into Sims. What's also nice again is you might have, especially if you're in a primary school, you may have missed the AM session and the child was actually in and you've marked them as absent. You go back to the current timetable, we go to the AM session, we select the student, so it was actually Leonie, click present, and you can go back, back again, upload registration, and there we go. That has then been uploaded again to the management information system. Now, again, that is Reggie in a nutshell. It's a very, very simple product, but it's very, very quick and easy to use. What's nice about it, there's not any intrusive information with regards to the children. It just is attendance marks. The only bit of personal information that we do retrieve is the child's date of birth, their name, and the picture. Okay. Now again, you can disable the picture. So that doesn't come up. But what we can do as well is for substitute teachers, the picture's quite nice because you can actually identify who the child is. But again, that is Reggie. So that's actually the end of the product demonstration. With all of our products, you get unlimited technical support, unlimited online help. It's unlimited licenses, so you can have as many users as you like with regards to truancy call. The user basis on the Reggie app is priced by how many teachers you have using the app. But with regards to upgrades and installation, they're all included in your annual fee. So if we make upgrades throughout the year, they will be added to your account. Okay? So thank you very much for your time. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the questions that you've asked on the right-hand side. If you have any more, please ask as we're going through it. Gemma, over to you.
Okay, the first question was received by Lisa with regards to truancy call. Lisa's asked, who creates the letters within truancy call? Do the school create them, or are there already templates available, John?
Okay, so as we mentioned earlier, we have the template side of things. So we go to configure and templates. We have one standardized that we've created for you, but as I said, you can use the import function and you can import letters that you've already created. But as again, what's quite nice is when you've imported them, it will say for example, dear Mr. and Mrs. Clarke. When you edit that information, you can actually delete this here where it says dear parents and carers, and you can actually put in the parent title and surname. So we've got parent first names, insert, and when you mail merge that letter, it will put in their personal information. I hope that covers that for you, Lisa.
Okay, the second question was received by Stephen Clarke. Is school using Integris, and he's wanting to know does truancy call work with Integris?
Oh yes, sorry Steve, yeah, it definitely does work with Integris. It works slightly differently. So what happens with CMIS and with Sims, it reads and writes back. With Integris, it gathers the attendance marks. So when you press get absent students, it pulls through the marks. But it's very easy to manage because you would send the text out. But what's quite nice now, if you are operating Windows 7, you can have on the left-hand side you can have truancy call, and pardon me for using a different window. And you would on the right-hand side you could just have Integris. And when you listen to the calls or the text come through, you could just write back the information into Integris, and it can be quite quick and easy. I hope that answers your question there on Integris, Steve. Thank you.
Another question on truancy call received from Gary. He's wanting to know, is there a restriction on the number of calls we can make at any one time?
There is no restriction on how many calls you can make. What happens is the calls go out onto our server, and depending on demand, the calls will go out straight away. But if not, they then go into a queue, and what happens? They get sent out as and when the calls have been sent. But the time scale is very minimal if there is a queue. We have many servers, and they cascade into one another to send them calls out. Again, I hope that answers your question, Gary.
Another question received by Stephen about Call is asking what the cost is of Call, John.
Okay, so the costing side of things, if I can get them up for you, Steve. So, with regards to our pricing on truancy call, it works on a two-system basis. We offer call parents, and we offer which is a general texting and emailing solution, and we also offer truancy call. Now, if you buy both of them products together, there is a combined price, which is basically to add the other product on, it's around £150 to £300 more. But to just buy one system, you're looking at that first column there where it says option 1. Okay. Now, within option 1, if you have up to 49 kids, it's £145, and then it goes up there to £950 between £1,800 and £1,999. With the texting side of things, texts are sent at 5p per text, and the calls are 19p per minute, but you are charged per second, and that is a call to a mobile number, and a call to a landline is 5p per minute, and again billed at per second basis. And I think that's okay for that one.
Okay, another question received from Stephen about Reggie. What devices does Reggie work on, John?
So Reggie works on Android and Apple phones. So if you have the Apple market on your iPhone, so from iPhone 3 to 5S, it works on all them devices. It can also work on tablets as well. Any iTablet, so any iPad you've got there, or it can work on Android tablets as well. So you've got your Samsung Galaxies, you've got Aces, I think they are. It's any of them that run the Google Play Store, which is the Android market. But we are both on both respective stores. And that answers that one, I believe.
Okay, yeah, a question from Lisa about Reggie. If the school don't have devices to download it, they don't have their own equipment, are they able to use it on their own personal phones, John?
Again, yeah, that's absolutely fine, but it's dependent on the school. So if the school wants to allow the parents to use it on their if they want the teachers to use it on their own smartphones or their own tablets, that's absolutely fine. It works alongside the Wi-Fi in the school, or it can work on a 3G connection. But again, it's completely up to the teachers and the school. Again, that covers that one, unless there's any more.
Yeah, another question from Lisa regarding the costing for the Truancy call, which was explained. What extra does the call parents option give you then on the pricing, John? Okay,
so the call parents, as I said, it's a general texting and emailing solution. Now this offers the ability for your schools to send out text reminders, for example, school trips, if you've got parents' evening. We've also got the email solution where some schools send a lot of their newsletters out and mail via paper-based. Now the email can be an effective tool for cutting down printing and postage costs and basic paper costs as well. So yeah, that gives you the option to text and email your parents. Again, that integrates into all major MIS systems. It runs live with SIMS, CMIS, Integris. We've got CMIS. And that's it on the call parent side of things. Again, we will be doing another webinar on the call parent software, or if you want to see it in more detail, you could book a demonstration, book a date and time for the demonstration of call parents. And I think that's on that, mate.
No further questions, John?
No further questions. Well, thank you all very much for attending the webinar today. I hope that it's delivered exactly what you were looking for with regards to effectiveness towards attendance. But yeah, thank you from myself and from Gemma for joining the webinar. Thank you. Bye-bye.